Hey, Tom E. Curran, I want to ask you, before we get into the Patriots, do you think the Celtics are done? Down 3-1 without Tatum. Are they done?
I do not think so. I agree with you.
How about
and
that?
that's probably an unpopular take today.
That's all right. We're positive.
No, we'll take it. I like
We're positive people, Tom. That makes sense.
The unpopular take will be that despite the points that he was piling up from about the 3:45 mark of the third quarter, when he hit like a triple pivot turnaround fall away that was a horrendous shot, and it went in, and we hear, Jason Tatum! I was like, stop doing that. And he proceeded to do it for the next 7 or 8 possessions. So this walking the ball up, 0 passes, standing 45 feet from the hoop at the half-court stripe, and then initiating the offense with 8 seconds left, all that does is allows the Knicks to rest on defense. So I was laying that comeback at the feet of Tatum's decision-making. And he hit some nice shots in the fourth quarter. But again, they're low percentage, no pass or one-pass possessions that leave the Knicks off the hook. And that's been the reason, as you guys know, and as all the people who watch the series know, that the Knicks have climbed back in these games. They've let them off the hook by playing simple, lazy, allegedly dagger basketball, just swinging threes. And that's, you know, it's just maddening. And it was maddening last night. And then for Jaylen Brown to just absolutely bumble a pass that led to the injury was just further maddening. You know, and no one's going to really want to talk about that today because it's a terrible and traumatic injury, and he's a great player, and he works hard, and he's everything you want in a superstar if you're a local entity, especially in the media or if you're a fan. But facts is facts. That was a desperately poor performance, and it's been that way for most of the series.
Yeah, I'm with you. Tatum definitely had a few like heat checks, and then definitely that's one of the things you get. Like if you're gonna have the 42-point game, sometimes the ball gets a little sticky, and everybody else doesn't get involved as much. I'd have more confidence in the Celtics even without Tatum, like you and Jones have, except for the fact that Holiday, Horford, and Porzingis have all looked as bad as they have, and I don't know if that's going to turn around.
I have the antidote.
Okay.
Oh.
Let Pritchard run the ball. Let Pritchard run everything.
Okay.
Let Pritchard run everything. He moves the ball by simply not even moving the ball. With the dribble, he moves the ball. He penetrates. He kicks it out. He moves it with the dribble. They snap the ball when he's on offense. He drives, penetrates. It doesn't take until 8 seconds are left on the shot clock for the offense to be initiated so that you end up settling for some ridiculous one-footed fall away from the baseline that if it goes in, everyone starts shooting off the confetti cannons like it was a good shot. Let Pritchard run things.
Right.
What else could go wrong? I mean, I'd rather have him out there running things at this point offensively. I mean, is it crazy to say that he's a better offensive player at this juncture in his career than Drew Holiday? I don't think it is.
No, he's definitely a better offensive player. At least he has been. You know, this season.
Put it in his hands. What do you got to lose?
Go down swinging. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, look, to your point, they still have the sixth man of the year. They still have an all-star in Jaylen Brown, 2 guys who are on Team USA in Holiday and Derek White. Porzingis has been an all-star before, so they have plenty of talent to get this thing done. Patriots have increased their talent as well. We were going through all the opponents.
I heard your tears.
Oh, beautiful.
I heard your tears.
Okay, well, I was going to walk you through it. So the schedule release is officially tomorrow. We're going to know the placement on the calendar of all these games. We know the opponents. We know the home opponents. We know the away opponents. We chalked up 8 must-win games for the Pats. We had 4 more toss-up games. The over-under is 8.5, depending on where you shop. So how many wins are we assuming the Patriots can get next year? What's the realistic win total?
There were very few discrepancies when you did this 20 minutes ago that I found. Basically 0, although I don't think the Falcons are the wagon that you think they are.
Well, you guys are sleeping on it.
Sleeping on the Falcons.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's such an easy home schedule. And I think that, you know, one note about rookie minicamp last week was just the intensity with which they attack things. And, you know, we can all acknowledge by now that it was a tough spot for Mayo last year. But I remember we all observed and watched Mayo, and he very much was kind of getting used to the water. He wasn't as involved. He was floating. And, you know, we acknowledge that. I just want to watch how people are doing things and make notes. And that's very much based on, hey, it's a foundational year. We're just going to figure some things out. and that led to the lack of urgency that we saw that trickled on throughout. We're not going to put May out there until he's ready and everything until it's ready. And then, so I think everybody treated it as a mulligan year. And I don't think that exists now. I think there's much greater urgency, even though it's, a 30 or 40% more talented team, you would think. But there's an urgency, I think, that's going to accompany that could make an 8, 9, 10 win. If you're going to take the over, I'd take the over.
Yeah.
Take the over.
Yeah,
take the over.
I would take the over. It's 7.5 in some places, the 8.5 in others. Obviously, you get a little bit more money if you go 8.5. But last year, Tom, it was a lot of Sunday at 1 with Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta. You think this year? Yeah, exactly. You think this year, and we've already seen a lot of the primetime games, some of the holiday games, and they haven't been included there. But do you think just with the year 2 Drake May, the new coach, some of the players, do you think they're going to be more prominently featured, or do you think it's another season where they're sort of just the 1 o'clock game?
I think they're a 1 o'clock item until further notice. I mean, the biggest rivalry game that you could find would probably be the Titans game that you mentioned, which that's not going to raise the level of anything at this point. So you can't say that there's a great Jets-Patriots rivalry right now with Justin Fields under center. There really is no game of great national appeal. Everybody has to get a Thursday game. I think everybody does get a Monday night game. So I would, maybe a Buffalo game with the Patriots drafting off Buffalo's popularity would maybe rise to that level. But that I think they remain Sunday at 1.
I'm curious, coming out of the rookie minicamp and, some of the discussion from Mike Vrabel this past week about the talent that they upgraded when he met with the media. If you thought or have heard anything about them being in on George Pickens, Keefe and I both thought that was a reasonable deal for Dallas. They've sniffed around on receivers before. They added Diggs. They drafted Kyle Williams. I still think they could use another receiver in the room. Do you have any read or understanding of their level of interest in George Pickens this offseason?
I don't think there was any, but, I'd say this. We got mixed messages. We spent a lot of time in the early portion of the season leading into off-season, leading into free agency, having it proclaimed that we're only going to surround Drake with guys who aren't going to be a pain in the ass. And then they went and signed Diggs, who the more you look at it, and maybe it's just because he's here now, the more you get your mind around the fact, well, he can be a pain in the ass, but he's an unbelievable worker, and he can have an impact on some of these guys from the last couple of years who are not unbelievable workers. But still, I think Pickens feels like a bridge too far. If you can't make it in Pittsburgh, where Antonio Brown was for 8 or 9 years with Mike Tomlin, then you probably can't make it here with a building team.
One of the questions that we brought up last week, sort of just a projection for the season, but who do you think the team's leading rusher will be?
It'll be Stevenson.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to have 1,041 yards.
Good. That was the next question. Specifically, what number? No, because we were tossing this around. Obviously, Travion Henderson is an exciting second-round pick. He probably will be involved more in the pass game. But we kind of came to the conclusion that if they kind of split carries with the 3 guys in the backfield, is there a scenario where Drake May ends up being the team's leading rusher?
Ooh. I think in a perfect world, that'd be a horrible thing to have happen.
Right.
And he compiled, I think he was like second in the league in yards per carry if you included quarterbacks in that, because he had so many long ones when teams were playing man. But, I would imagine that Drake May is going to have a lot of 400-plus yard seasons because he can. And I don't think it's out of running for his life. I think that'll be a component of what they're going to try and do offensively and take advantage. He's big. He's only going to get bigger. I'll be interested to see what he looks like coming into camp this year, after as compared to last year. Because he wasn't slight by any stretch, but he's still young, so you're going to continue to fill out through your 24, 25. So he can probably take the licking.
Bill Belichick has a looming buyout of $1 million June 1st at the University of North Carolina. Is there any chance, Tom, he doesn't make it to his first game and they just blow this thing up before it starts?
I would venture to say, yes, there's a chance, but I would think it's very small and less than 10%, probably less than 5%. I mean, Bill, I think in the 15 months, imagine it's only been 15 months since he's been gone, maybe 16. It's been a nonstop avalanche of bad news. And I think the people have tried to portray it as, well, it's not on Bill. He's living his best life. It's not gone that great overall. To have the entire league turn its nose up to you, end up in North Carolina, to have your minions saying that we're the 33rd team and we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then to have just the bad PR that has gone on for the last month and a half. So to me, he has to try and salvage it. I mean, you look at Shula, all the Super Bowl era head coaches, Shula, Knoll, Landry, Lombardi, Walsh, Gibbs, none of them did anything in their post-extreme success periods to muddy the water. And Bill has muddied the water a little bit, not on his Patriots legacy, but just on certainly post-Brady. I think that we've come to a conclusion that, well, maybe he wasn't the hooded genius we made him out to be. He's still a great in-game coach, but it's been 6 years since 2019 of not great news on the Bill Belichick front.
You think there might be people with the Patriots now that are kind of enjoying this that's going on?
Enjoying? I don't know. I mean, everybody loves a little Schadenfreude. But I think that this is somewhat explanatory as to why, he was difficult to work with. And there was a point at which I don't think that people relished the opportunity to keep coming into work. I mean, the players even would acknowledge how difficult it was. I remember being recounted to me, when they were on the road and they stayed over, I think it was in 22, when they stayed over out on the West Coast and they had to play Arizona might have been a short week, but they were staying out there, and he just kept them in meetings. It was late in the season. He just kept them in meeting after meeting after meeting. And it was just, it just wasn't a great place to work. And certainly last year, it was more relaxing, but it certainly wasn't better. So I think Vrabel's here to try and split the difference, make it miserable to an extent, but, have guys who will embrace the misery because there's something at the end of it.
All right, he is Tommy Curran of NBC Sports Boston. You can check him out there, all over the TV as well, BST, early edition, quick slants when it's running. I will tell you, Tom, the people always like your Patriots takes, but the text line specifically was loving your Celtics takes today, 617-779-7937. Preach, Curran, preach. Mm-hmm. Can we get Tommy to replace Joe Mazzulla? Tommy for MFing president. So the people were liking your Celtics takes earlier for sure.
Look at all the team. Like the Celtics come over half court and everybody goes to their stations for that 5-out offense, right? Mm-hmm. And people are, well, it's just the way they do it now. It's a 5-out league. You dribble, drive, you kick. Why do I see the Warriors cut? Why do I see the Heat when they were good cut? Why have they set up friggin' back pick one time? One time, anybody off the ball getting a pick. They don't get anybody open except pick for the ball and create. There was a play last night where Porzingis was trying to run a pick for Tatum, and Tatum ran up his ass and almost laid it and goes to the line. Like, what is that's bad? And Doris isn't going to say anything. It was exquisite to her. No. Exquisite.
Well, it was. I would say preach on Doris as well. All right, Tom, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tom.
Tommy Curran joining us here on a Tommy Tuesday.
He's locked in on these C's games.